What's up, ladies and gents, Ghost here, back with some more Battlefield news. Today I'm going to be discussing changes to the CTE. Battlefield 3 is now free, and of course, the pink elephant in the room, Battlefield Hardline. So first of all guys, if you haven't gone and gotten yourself a copy of Battlefield 3, drop everything now, head over to Origin and download it completely free. It's on the house until the 3rd of June, so you can save yourself $20 if you want to pick up this title. You may not think there's much point getting a past Battlefield game when you already have Battlefield 4, but believe me, if you're somebody who's never experienced the snappiness and good netcode of Battlefield 3, I really recommend giving it a go. The footage today in the background is of course courtesy of said game. As you can see, I'm currently ripping things up on Operation Metro, otherwise known as good old Operation Clusterfuck, and later on in the video I'm going to be showing you guys a bit of jet footage as well. So on to the main attraction then guys, Battlefield Hardline. Yep, it's a thing. I'm sure you guys have no doubt heard already through all of the leaked icons from Battlelog depicting various weapons, gadgets and vehicles, as well as the leaked gameplay trailer for which somebody at DICE, I believe, or Visual Games was fired for being a naughty boy. In any case, I'm a little bit late to the party with this one, so instead of running over all of said gadgets, vehicles and weapons, I'm going to be giving you guys some of my thoughts on this new game. So I think it's going to be an interesting one guys. A lot of people wanted a Battlefield game set in the USA, and I suppose they got their wish. Personally, I was expecting 2143 or possibly Battlefield Bad Company 3 before they decided to go and change direction with the franchise, but I have to say, after hearing all of the news, I'm pretty much looking forward to this. Especially if what they've been saying about the tactical gameplay actually holds true. As I'm sure you guys will know, Battlefield is best played in a squad with people over live comms and actually having some sort of tactics and planning around the engagement, rather than just running in, not knowing whether you're actually going to have any support from your team or not. So a lot of the assets for the game that have been leaked and that we've seen so far do seem to pretty much be standard in the Battlefield franchise. A lot of them are just carbon copies from Battlefield 4. However, some of them have spiked some interest in the community, amongst those, definitely the zip lines and the grappling hooks. Now I really like this idea. Apparently, according to the developers in the leaked video, we're going to be able to use these zip lines and grappling hooks literally anywhere on the map. So the way I imagine this works with the zip lines is that there is some sort of a launcher for them, so you can sort of rig it up to the wall on one building and then fire it across to the adjacent building and just zip across there to get from one place to another relatively easily. And same goes for the grappling hooks. No ladder required. All you need to do is stand at the bottom of a building and it seems you can just fire it up towards the sky. It will hook on over the top of the wall and you can climb your way up Somalian pirate style. So I really like the fact that they're adding some new tactics into the game, and after all, we are going to be playing as SWAT versus Thieves, and SWAT does indeed stand for Special Weapons and Tactics, so if there was anything less than this, then I would definitely be a little bit disappointed. So of course, with a new game, we're going to be getting all new game modes, and the flagship game mode that they have seems to be Heist, which revolves around thieves trying to defend their loot in some sort of a bank vault, at least in the map that was depicted in the leaked trailer, and the SWAT team have to essentially break in there, most likely via their zip lines and their grappling hooks, and stop the thieves. Now this seems to be a little bit similar to Rush to me. Of course, we don't really know what the objective is going to be, so are the thieves going to have to sort of grab their loot and try and sneak out the back door and get away from the SWAT team, or are they going to have a certain amount of tickets? Is it going to be basically like Rush, if you think of the thieves as the defenders and the SWAT team as the attackers? I have a feeling, looking at some of these game modes, that especially since DICE are working with Visceral Games on the multiplayer side of the game, that they're really taking a lot of inspiration from some of the current game modes in Battlefield and just sort of changing them up a little. I can't help but feel that Heist bears a huge resemblance to Rush. Other game modes that we've seen like Blood Money bear big resemblances to Team Deathmatch. Now the campaign for the game seems to be a lot different to say something like Battlefield 4, which of course had a very serious tone to it. It was very dramatic. In this game, it looks like it's going to be a little bit more similar to something like, say, Bad Company, with a very humoristic feel to it, and a lot of caricatures apparently from hit US TV series such as House of Cards and things like that. Now the single player campaign is of course being developed by Visceral Games and not DICE, so it's going to be interesting to find out which direction they decide to take this in. Visceral also seem to be taking vehicular combat in a little bit of a new direction for this game. A lot less emphasis is being placed on heavy armor like you would expect in, well, a battlefield, and it seems to be putting that emphasis much more on light vehicles, speedy vehicles like police cruisers and motorbikes. Initially, when we saw the Battlelog emblems that were leaked, it actually looked like really the heaviest of vehicles that we were going to be getting was a Jeep with a 50 cal mounted on the top and maybe a scout helicopter or two. But after seeing the leaked footage, I can confirm that in that footage it does actually showcase jets, so apparently that's a part of the SWAT team's arsenal these days. Scout helicopters, attack helicopters, and even transports. In fact, I think the only thing that we didn't see in there was actually heavy armor like IFVs and main battle tanks. So in other news, an interesting forum post over on the CTE forums cropped up today, and it's somebody talking to one of the producers of the CTE, and actually of Premium as well. Now this guy was asking about the netcode and how it actually works. Currently the way this works in CTE is they have implemented a new option called high frequency network smoothing. Now you can set this to off, low, medium or high, and presumably off means it will be at the default value of 10 Hz and high at the highest, which is 30 Hz. According to the producer Tiki, medium will turn it down to around 20 Hz and putting it to low will lower it down to 15 Hz. Now it was also explained how the netcode actually works. Apparently you have 30 Hz if you have this set to high in a 200 meter radius around you. So once you get outside of 200 meters, so if somebody's actually sniping at you from a long distance, the netcode won't actually be updating as often. It also changes when you get into a vehicle, so the netcode becomes lower if you're in a vehicle, and the range at which that netcode is active will become shorter as well. I suppose this makes sense since when you're in a vehicle, you're able to take much more damage and therefore react to that damage much more than you can when you're playing as infantry. If you're infantry, you can literally die in a split second. If you get, say, headshotted from a SCAR H, you can actually get two-shotted in the head, and you really don't have any time to react. So having a higher tick rate as infantry is much more important than when you're in vehicles. Now, in addition to this, there was also talk of lowering the amount of damage that all the weapons do in favour of trying to increase the amount of time that an engagement lasts for in Battlefield 4. Even with the new netcode, as I mentioned before, a weapon like the SCAR H can literally two-shot you in the head, and it just doesn't make for a fun mechanic when you're in the middle of a firefight, somebody fires at you, and you just instantly die and feel like you had no chance to actually fire back at the other person. It doesn't make for people to have very much fun, and it encourages defensive gameplay. So in favour of having longer firefights, I think they're going to be experimenting with decreasing the damage models for all weapons overall. Of course, they're not just going to throw this into the base game. This is something that will probably be experimented on the CTE servers for a long time until they try and hit that sweet spot. I've kind of got mixed feelings about this because sometimes those kind of damage models that we currently have in Battlefield can reward you. You know, you can run around a corner and surprise a bunch of guys, and you can get 3 kills with the 30 rounds that you have in, say, your assault rifle magazine, or your PDW, or your carbine, or whatever. But if they start to decrease the damage models, it may end up being that, for example, we can only get a 2 kill spread with 1 clip, which is really going to diminish our ability to be able to run round corners and just do a snappy decision that sometimes ends up working out for us. So a couple more things, guys, just before I go. First of all, a lot of you are interested in Watchdogs, I know, and some of you haven't yet bought the game and are sort of waiting because you've heard positive and negative things about the game, about the gameplay, and also about the way the game runs, even on very high spec systems. So I am going to be making a video illustrating my experiences of Watchdogs overall for the single player, the free roaming world, for the multiplayer aspect of the game. I'm going to be giving you guys all of my good points and all of my bad points, so you can be expecting to see my first impressions on that game pretty soon. Additionally, guys, I am actually going to be heading off to Canada for a couple of weeks. On the 5th of June, I will be back on the 20th. Now, I will do my best to get some videos prepared that I can hopefully upload while I'm over there and get you guys some content out, but I'm not making any promises. I am pretty busy as life goes, so it may end up that I just have no time to make videos and you guys are going to have to go 2 weeks without anything. So just giving you a quick heads up, if you don't see me for a couple of weeks, you'll know why. Alright guys, so that's it. It's been a bit of a long one today, I apologise for that, So thank you if you stuck through that all the way. We did have quite a lot to cover. So yeah, Battlefield Hardline. I'm quite looking forward to it. It's kind of early to tell. I mean, we're going to be getting some new information on it at E3 this year, which I am unfortunately going to miss because I will of course be in Canada, so don't expect to see any sort of coverage on that from my channel. But I'm definitely going to be watching it over there in Canada, and it's going to be interesting to see what Visceral Games and EA actually reveal about that. So as always guys, thanks for watching and thanks for sticking with me. We're so close to 3,000 subscribers. I think at the making of this video we're around 50 subs or so away from 3,000, which is crazy. So thank you guys as always for all your support. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.